Thank you, Paolo, and welcome everybody online. My name is Volker Kraft, and as a member of the JMP academic team, I know that many professors embrace the teaching materials we are offering for free. Sometimes it is even a reason to choose JMP for teaching. We are very proud of our resources developed over the last 15 years, and I'm glad to present them to you today. Besides a welcome and a wrap-up and a very short introduction to JMP, we will cover two main sections today. First, how JMP supports teaching basic concepts and statistical methods, self-paced learning and problem solving. And second, we will suggest some core elements to take your course online. Welcome again. So this webinar is about teaching and learning, two sides of the same coin. We will address the teacher's needs, but also consider the learner's experience and objectives. There are so many reasons shown in other webinars to use JMP, the software, in teaching. It's easy to use with powerful scripting, state-of-the-art analytics, all very visual, interactive, and fun. But today, we will talk 90% about teaching content, which brings the software to life. And by teaching, we are not limited to the lecture room because, fortunately, SAS and JMP supported distance learning in different ways for a long time. In the past, we already saw more and more professors combining on-site and online teaching into a mixed, so-called blended learning approach. Or they used a flipped classroom, students consuming lectures outside of class and taking homework and activities, the fun part, in class. Given the current circumstances of COVID-19, all over the world, many teachers are even forced to take their courses online now. Stay tuned and see how JMP can help you on that journey. This session is for you if you ask yourself questions like, how can I speed up the development of my courses? How can I teach statistical thinking even more efficiently? How can I better engage with my students and focus on the most relevant skills? And you are lucky. Later this week, we will share the recording of this session in our academic webinar library. We will also post this journal. The journal is a JMP file, so to follow the links, you have to open it in JMP, but you can also use the 30 days trial version you find at jmp.com/trial. You can also read about this topic in our recent blog series, The Bread and Butter When Teaching with JMP. You'll find this on jmp.com, choose Community, and then JMP Blogs. And you'll find a 6-part series and an additional post addressing the need to take courses online. This is the first part, introducing the topic. If you are new to JMP, please hang on. Some resources can also be used without an academic JMP license. I said this webinar is not about the software, so please follow these links to learn more about JMP applications, success stories from industry, or the JMP product family. Let me give you a very brief idea about the software using a sample data set looking at the 1,309 passengers from the Titanic. You will see that Graphics are always linked with analysis results. The interface is very intuitive, and students typically cannot wait to use the interactive visualizations. Like the distribution platform, so I select the variables I want to analyze, assign them to roles, and then start the analysis. Let me remove the names again. And if we look at a continuous variable, we can see the extremely high ages of 80 and 76 years old. But I can also click on bars from categorical variables and look at all the passengers who survived. I can also select and multi-select all the passengers below 20 years old, and I see that most of them were in third class. Looking at all the passengers who did not survive, I can also see, and that's interesting, that also people on a lifeboat who made it into a lifeboat died. So if we look at boat 8, we see that 4 from 11 people in that boat died finally. Graph Builder is the interactive graphing tool in JMP. So here we see a categorical by categorical mosaic plot. So I switch from the female passengers who survived in first class to the male passengers who survived in first class, and they are also selected in the data table. I can get the control for this platform back and start over, and it's just by dragging and dropping variables. So if we look at a continuous by continuous variable, this is fair by age. I can also break it down by passenger class, for instance, and put this in here or here or here. I change the smoother into a regression line, and we get the result. And here we see that there's a slightly negative trend with the growing age, but there's also some uncertainty due to not enough data, maybe at very low and very high ages. The partition platform in this case builds a classification tree for survival. So I can partition or split the data, split by split, and we get a classification tree. And this tree tells us that it was better to be female in first or second class and to pay a high fare above 31. So this led to a survival probability of 97%. We can also look at the column contributions. So we see that sex and passenger class helped most to explain survival in this case. And we can also look at the fit details to learn about the misclassification rate, for instance. So using this classification tree, we would misclassify on 18% of all passengers. Bivariate analysis. So here I just recall two relationships. So this was again categorical by categorical, where we get a mosaic plot again, but also important in this analysis context, we get all the relevant tests which make sense in this context and help to ask and answer more questions. On the right hand side we have a continuous independent variable, age. So here we get to a logistic regression context where we can also ask for other options, for instance adding the lift curve. Building a multiple regression model. So this is actually a logistic regression again, because we are predicting or explaining survival. So we see again all the predictors who were most significant for this model. The whole model is statistically significant. So here we see a very low p-value. But looking at the model results, you typically want to use the profiler to visualize all the relationships in our model. And in this case, we are modeling this likelihood not to survive. And you can see if we now switch to second or third class, this likelihood goes up. It even increases more when we switch to male passengers. And if I set the age to 80, then we get an average likelihood to not to survive above 98%. So as you see, this means for students that learning from data with JMP is really easy, efficient, and engaging. And there are hundreds more of these data sets. And it's not just the point-and-click interface. Students can also integrate with other packages using the built-in JMP scripting language, and then they can integrate with R, Python, MATLAB, and other packages, or also export scoring code for these type of models in other source languages. Concerning academic licensing, I just want to mention that most of our academic users use an annual site license. Please search for JMP Academic Suite on the web. And there's also a light version of JMP Student Edition, which is a single user 3 years license, which comes for free with many textbooks. Now let us look at our teaching resources. As a first use case, we are interested in teaching basic concepts like confidence intervals or Anova. JMP users, not only in education, love our interactive teaching modules so much that they have been added to our sample data. Open the Help menu, choose Sample Data, and there you will find teaching scripts under the teaching resources. I open the interactive teaching modules and also the teaching demonstrators. Let me show you the first applet. So these are little demo applets developed in JMP scripting language, JSL. And this example is a distribution calculator. So here you can specify one value, or you specify two values to calculate the probability in this range under this curve. I can also turn this around and specify a probability to calculate the corresponding value. And here we see the value or two values depending on your choice. Another example is demonstrate regression, one of my favorites. So here I choose to use a normally distributed population, and these are the population parameters to be estimated, the intercept and the slope of our linear model. So for this, we look at a sample of 25 data points. So these are the 25 data points. And I can also change this one again and again. And then for any sample you can choose to fit a line, or the students try to move these grabbers around to get a reasonable fit to this sample. But you can also ask jump to fit the least squares line. And here you see the minimum, the best, the lowest sum of squared error you can get. And you can also compare this to your guess. So here we see that the best would be to reach this minimum, which is indicated by this red line here. And this fit we got so far is just one equation, one fit, and we see that our estimates are not that close to our parameters, but you can also get another sample, and another sample, and with every sample you get a different fit. So there's also the concept of uncertainty, and when I just get 100 more samples, you can nicely show that there is a band of confidence and an uncertainty by every single sample, and by summing them up and building the average for all our individual fits, we get much closer to the true unknown parameters. The third one, the last one to show here, is to demonstrate Anova. So now we have a categorical factor, just one factor. This is a one-way Anova. Again, we have the population characteristics here, so I can change them and I can change the means. And now for these means and for this sample, so we have a sample size of 5 in every group. I can look at the mean diamonds and I can check them for any overlap. So is it likely that the true means are different? For this I can also look at a one-way Anova, and we see the split of the variance in a model term and an error term with a p-value. So here this p-value is so small that we could reject the null hypothesis that there are no differences at all. I can also look at the F distribution if interested, and also ask for a power analysis. So this shows me the type 2 error, beta, and we also see that this test has a power of 89%, which is 1 minus beta. And this is really important, an important concept. So this is the probability to detect something which is really there. The second group in this section are calculators and simulators, and these are again some scripted tools which can be found in the sample data, so just 2 sections below, calculators and the simulations. Let me show you one example for calculators. Hypothesis test for 2 means. So I choose to run a test on summary statistics, and now I want to test that there is no difference. So I leave this at 0, and my first sample mean is 100, standard deviation 5, and the sample size 20. The second mean, observed mean, is 105 with the same standard deviation and sample size. I leave this significance level, and now I get this p-value here. So we have an observed difference of 5, and we get this p-value. So this p-value is so low that we can reject the null hypothesis that there is no difference. I can also ask JMP, what does this mean? And JMP gives me some help to draw a good decision from this test. The simulations are basically data sets, data tables, which come with scripts. So here we have a dice roll data table, and I just roll the dice many times. Many means 1,000 in this case. So then JMP adds 1,000 rows to the data table, and I can run this plotting script which draws the average of all dice rolls, and we see that this gets more and more to 3.5. If we add this line, you see that this is more and more an average of 3.5. That's just one of the calculators. That's just one of the simulators. Another one can be used to teach another one can be used to teach the central limit theorem. So here we also see a help text, and the text tells us that we should add at least 30 rows to the data table. So let add me 100 rows, and then we have columns at different sample sizes from 1 to 100, and I just look at the distributions for all of them. And here you can show nicely, especially after aligning the scales, and maybe also after using the grabber tool. So now you see that the distributions are changing more and more into a normally distributed curve with lower variation when you increase the sample size. The last example in this section is about bootstrapping and simulations. So randomization testing. And these are nice options to teach some concepts like confidence intervals without a lot of theory like probability or sampling distributions. So this is very easy in JMP Pro, and for that let me open the big data. For this, let me open the big class sample data set, and now I want to look at the height by sex for these 40 kids from a school class. And for randomization testing, I need a random column. So I can get this before I do this. So I prepare this random column by right-clicking, new formula column random, and then I choose Oh Mann, so eine Scheiße. For this, let me open the big class sample data, and to prepare this type of test, a randomization test, I need a randomized column. So we will look at height by sex. So I need to reshuffle the sex column, and to do this I just right click, choose new formula column, random, and then sample with replacement. So I get this additional column now. And when we look at a one-way analysis, and this is analyzing the relationship between height and sex. And then we get to statistics, including the means per group, female and male, and also the standard confidence intervals. You can right-click on all of these tables and then scroll down, and there you will find the bootstrapping and also the randomization or permutation test option called simulate. I choose simulate, and then I tell jump to switch out the column sex, the original column, and switch in the resample column of sex, and to do this 250 times. And because this resample column has a formula, the data are resampled 250 times. And all the results are shown here in this data set. So we have all the 250 rows plus the original data plus the original row which has been excluded. And now I look at the distributions for female and male, and then you see the original estimate, which was 0.945. It's also shown here by a red bar. And we also see the empirical confidence intervals and also p-values. The next section is about resources for teaching statistical methods, including introductory and advanced statistics, data modeling, design of experiments, quality and process tools, and so on. The first all the different kinds of resources in this section can be found at the same location at our academic resources portal at the shortcut jump.com/teach, which brings you to this portal here. The first example is our famous learning library, which is in the middle here, learning library. If you click this link, you get to our one-page guides and videos. So choose a category here. So if I take basic inference, you will see all our related one-page guides or how-to documents, how to run a chi-square test for a two-way table in JMP. So for all of these topics and questions, you get a short video and also a one-page guide, a one-page PDF. So here you also see how to get started with bootstrapping and randomization testing in JMP Pro. One tip, when you get to this learning library, there's also an option to download all the one-page guides bundled into one PDF. And if you get this PDF as a download, so let me show this here, and I get to the beginning. So if you look at this PDF document, you get the content, and then there's a bonus track in this bundle showing you some overviews. So this is a page about analyzing a single variable, and on the left you see all the questions you can ask. Then the statistical techniques which are helpful to find answers, and where can you find the techniques and the methods in JMP, and where can you get more information in our one-page guides. Another overview about relationships between a single factor and a response variable, then between many factors and a response variable. Exploring patterns, so this is about unsupervised learning, and design of experiments, collecting data. All the one-page guides have a short phrase, what is it, what is this method about, and then you see how to get started in JMP and where to find more information. You have a lot of screenshots, and most of the guides also have a section about the interpretation of the results. The second item is about our introductory lab activities, which are typically used in AP Advanced Placement stats courses. So they are typically used at secondary schools and by AP Stats instructors, and they also come with instructor notes and a list of correlated textbooks. You can also find this type of content if you go back to our portal, AP Stats Resources on the right hand side, and then you get access to the instructions and also how to download solutions for all activities. And these type of activities are about introductory stats, so they also match nicely with our JMP Student Edition, which is the light version of JMP. There's also an AP Stats Resource Center in our community, and you can also follow that link to get more information about these instructions and the JMP Student Edition. And third to mention are the trainer kits or instructor materials from SAS. And back to the portal where you choose Course Material Library and then JMP Instructor Materials. So here you see the JMP courses from SAS Education, for which you can download all the course content, including PowerPoint slides, the data sets, the examples, all the exercises and instructions, solutions. So everything an instructor needs to teach these courses, and the courses are typically one, or I think most of them are 2-day courses. So here for one course, the custom DOE course, you see an example for instructor notes. So here you see that's the material an instructor uses. So it has also the slides, but also the exercises and solutions, of course, but also the introduction of concepts and comments, how to explain this. These are the notes, and the central piece for navigation coming with every course is typically a JMP journal. You open in JMP, and then you can walk through all the content and open data sets or link to web pages using this journal. So the first chapter is about introducing these concepts. Then the second chapter about experiments with one factor. First a categorical factor, then a continuous factor. The third chapter is about experiments with two factors. So this also introduces blocking and how to change factors and split plot experiments. And then the last chapter is about experiments with multiple factors. So the final example has 3 responses and 7 factors. And the scripts, many scripts have very interesting and helpful simulations just to simulate and demonstrate relevant concepts for this course. The next section is about self-paced learning and practicing. There's a good reason that we have STIPS and SKIP as the first items here. STIPS is an online course which has been completed quite recently, and it offers 7 modules and a certification and up to 40 hours of learning time. Let me show you the landing page. So on our academic website you find a link or search for Statistical Thinking. So this is the course title, Statistical Thinking for Industrial Problem Solving. So that's the important part here, because this is really about relevant skills which are expected and required by our industrial customers to solve their problems. Here you can see the journal also gives you a link to this landing page where you can enroll to this course for free. And there's also a customer story where you can read about the integration of this course at the University of New Hampshire. STIPS comes with all the material and data sets online, and you get even free access to JMP Pro deployed in the cloud. So you don't need to have JMP installed on your computer, but you can. You can also get access and download all the data sets to play with them and do exercises locally on your own machine. And you also get access to a free ebook, which is JMP Start Statistics. This course is so great, and it has been used by thousands of users, both in industry and also in academia, so that I would like to play a short overview.
In virtually every field, across industry, science, and academia, deriving insights from data is central to problem-solving, innovation, and growth. Software such as JMP places statistical techniques within easy reach. But without an understanding of which approaches are useful and how to interpret and communicate results, solutions will be suboptimal and the best opportunities will remain undiscovered. That's why we created Statistical Thinking for Industrial Problem Solving. Developed with practitioners and academics from around the world, this free online course is available to anyone interested in building practical skills in using data to solve problems or drive improvement. In this course, you will be provided with free online access to JMP Pro so you can apply what you're learning. However, the focus is on understanding core statistical concepts and on the practical application of statistical techniques, so the knowledge and skills you gain are transferable. Because it's in the cloud, you can access the course from any device, and it will be available in several languages, so you can take the course even if English isn't your native language. Built from the ground up for the modern learner, the course is available 24/7, so you can work when and how you want. The topics in this course are grouped into 7 modules, totaling 25 to 30 hours of self-paced learning. You can take one module or take them all. For each module you complete, you can earn a badge certifying that you have successfully completed the content. Each module includes short instructional videos, jump demonstrations, questions to test your understanding of the concepts, and exercises so you can practice what you've learned. After completing the course, you can obtain a formal certification in statistical thinking for industrial problem solving. This performance-based certification can be used to demonstrate your mastery of the content and is part of the larger JUMP certification program. We've worked hard to create a free and globally accessible course to meet your needs.
The little brother of this e-course is Skip, our statistics knowledge portal, which has some engaging and motivating lessons to inspire your students to learn more. So this can be also found on the JUMP webpage. And let me show you a sample chapter about multiple regression. So here you can read about the basic concepts, see visuals, and learn more about important concepts. We already talked about the trainer kits from SAS Education. We also offer access to e-learning courses from SAS, and you can find these courses again on our resources portal. So if you follow the course material library and then choose e-learning courses, you see the courses where e-courses are available, and just select a course. So this is about introductory statistics. You can read about the topics and learning objectives of this Anova and regression course, for instance, and enroll. And if you are a user of a JUMP academic license, you can get access to this e-course. You get unlimited access to these e-courses for free. Every course contains up to 16 hours of learning content. So this is not just a demonstration, not just one lecture. It's really a whole course. And you can provide access to all your students if you like. And if you want to know more about these e-learning courses from SAS and how to access them, please get in touch with the JUMP academic team. Another source of content are the webinars, and there's another entry on our portal, live academic webinars, to register for live webinars like this one, which are done on a regular basis by the JUMP academic team. And you get also access to recorded webinars, which are made available on the JUMP academic webinar library. And this library has many recorded webinars from the past, and you can also point your students to these webinars to learn about statistical concepts and more about data preparation, multivariate analysis, or statistical process control. But there are also several webinars dedicated to teachers, instructors, showing you best practices, how to teach certain topics using JMP. The last item here is about books and textbooks. So many books are available which integrate JMP. Some of them even come with free JMP licenses, typically JMP Student Edition. And again, if you look at our portal, you find an entry to see most of the books which can be used in your courses. Many of the books have instructor download pages where you can get access to exercises, data sets, but some also provide free slide decks. And here are even more books, just check them out. And if you want to get a free evaluation copy, please follow this link here, Academic Review Copy Program. Or if you are an author and interested in writing a new book, please get in touch. And the last section is about a best practice in teaching statistics, real-world problem solving. Probably the fun part for many students. The first topic is about another library you find on our resources portal. This is the case study library, providing interesting real-world problems you can use for assignments or exercises. All the cases are grouped by course or analysis type, and they all come with a description about the statistical methods used, the JMP features, and also the statistical and graphical tools used to solve a certain problem. So you can download the data set and you can get a PDF for each case, and each case comes with the background and a description of the problem at hand. You see what is the task, should we solve or answer here, and you get introduced to the data set. Next is a sample solution you can follow, or maybe you prefer your own solution, but there's always one coming with every case. And then at the end, it's discussed what did we learn from a statistician's point of view, from a manager's point of view, and also from a JMP user's point of view. And to go an extra mile, so there are also more exercises if students want to dig deeper or play a bit more with this problem. Additionally, there are also other interesting cases you can get from books. So here are just a few examples of books which come with excellent cases for teaching. And let me show you an example from the visual online. Another source for cases are some books. So here are a few examples of books which provide excellent cases for teaching. And let me have a look at this book here, Visual Six Sigma, the second edition. So after providing some background information also about Visual Six Sigma and JMP, the main part of the book is about 6 case studies. And this chapter 9, this is about producing white garden chairs and tables. So it's about polymer manufacturing. And this chapter provides a really nice story about setting the scene, providing information about the whole process and the problem at hand. There was already a former Six Sigma team which spent a lot of effort on solving the problem and improving the product yield, but there was so much noise in the data that they could not come up with any useful solution or any improvement. So there are chapters about the problem, the process, the historical data which was available, and then a solution was, and a good idea of the recent team, to do a measurement system analysis first, which is also implemented in JMP. And this really showed that the measurement process was not set up to get consistent and reliable data. So the measurement system was actually a source for a lot of random variation. After that problem was solved, they collected new data, and these data allowed them to uncover some interesting relationships and model the relationships of the process, and then they were able to improve the process significantly, saving millions of dollars. And finally, I would like to mention academic industry collaborations. For many students, these are not just great learning, but also networking opportunities. And what we at JMP really like to do is to build bridges between academia and practitioners in industry. So our mission is, what you can read here, to help bridge the gap between academia and industry to build an awareness and an understanding of the importance of statistical thinking and promote the critical skills to better prepare students for careers in industry. One result from this initiative was the STIPS online course, but there are so many great examples how a collaboration between academia and industry led to really interesting win-win projects. So here you see some examples what this could be about. It could be about a master thesis, joint symposiums, student internships, speed dating, applied research, or guest lectures where people from industry come on campus and provide an interesting insight into their field and problems. So you can find more customer stories if you search on our webpage. But if you look at the academic industry network, you get also a better idea what this is about and why this is relevant, and this gives you also access to some customer reference stories which focus on the collaboration between academia and industry. Currently, at the beginning of the corona crisis, many professors have to take their classroom lectures online. This is actually a great opportunity if you adapt your teaching style and not just broadcast slideshows. And the digital transformation is less work than you may think, since so many resources already exist. Please ask us if you need any help. Here's a suggestion how to enrich your courses at different levels. First, maybe with the download of the JMP installer, point your students to this webpage with short videos to learn the basics of JMP. They start with getting data into JMP and cover all the important basic concepts up to sharing and publishing results. More getting started information is given in the JMP help system, so students can easily find what they are looking for. So if they need if they are interested in cluster analysis, they can easily find the relevant methods. If they want to clean up missing data, they see the tools in JMP which are helpful in this respect. The help menu also gives access to the JMP help system. All the guides and books are taken online. So here you get to this online help where you can easily search about topics you're interested in, covering all these books here. But there's also an introductory chapter called Discovering JMP if students prefer to read about basic concepts. This is the go-to chapter to get started. There are also several excellent built-in tutorials which can be used by the students on demand as soon as they are interested in some of these methods here. And there's a statistics index which works like the yellow pages for JMP. So here they find all the methods in JMP, and most of them come with a pointer into the help system. They can launch the platform directly or just run an example using some sample data. Second, the next level is about how-to questions. How can I do this or this in JMP? To answer these type of questions, I would point the students to the Learning Library to find the answers. Third, what about exercises, assignments, and practical So here I would point the students to the case study library or provide some select cases and ask them to solve the tasks and come up with an interesting solution. And it would be maybe most interesting for all if the students present their solutions and discuss them using JMP as a live demo or they can also publish interactive results on JMP Public. Just follow this link to see some examples of that online platform to share interactive JMP results. Other tasks can be found in the AP Stats lab activities. And on the last level, if the students want to learn more in depth about statistical concepts, send them to Statistical Thinking for Industrial Problem Solving, our STIPS course, first. They can start with any module there, and you can track the students' progress by checking the digital badges they get after passing a module, or use the JMP e-courses from SAS, which are even more complete and comprehensive. There are even some more options. Why not to deploy your course on a learning management system like Black Belt or Moodle? Why not ask your students to teach the other students? If you ask groups to present and discuss new topics or case studies, this could be really a great experience for the whole class. Or invite guest speakers, for example from industry or from us. Or why not add some gamification to the learning path? So you see, there are many options and a lot of content already exists. And if you do this well, it would be a great experience for your students and much better than just a workaround. I understand that this was really a lot of content and resources presented today, which can be leveraged in your face-to-face classes, in blended learning, active learning, flipped classroom, and many other teaching scenarios. I just want to recap the top 5. So what are the top 5 takeaways from today's session? First, don't forget that there is a lot already built into JMP. You get access to hundreds of sample data files with stored analyses. You have access to the interactive teaching modules, calculators, simulators. Also in JMP you find bootstrapping and randomization testing, just one right click away. So there's a lot you can find built in to JMP. The libraries are part of what you can find online in our resources portal. So remember the learning library, that's the library with how-to one-page guides and short videos, and the case study library provides real-world problems and solutions. There's one option here, course material library, which provides for different course types the best selection of resources. So for instance, for regression and modeling courses, you see a selection of one-page guides, case studies, JMP scripts, add-ins, webinars, lab activities, books, and so on. So this is really a best-of collection, course by course. Also at the course material library, you get access to the e-courses from SAS and the trainer kits or the instructor material from SAS Education. And finally, definitely worthwhile to check out the free online course Statistical Thinking in Industrial Problem Solving. This is appreciated by so many students and so many practitioners worldwide. Please have a look. Don't miss this course. This is the shortcut to our portal. If you just want to remember one URL, one link, then it should be this one here, jump.com/teach. And as a reminder, I already mentioned at the beginning that there is a new blog series talking about all these resources and providing some more information. Just go to the JMP user community and look for the blog series in the JMP blog, the bread and butter when teaching with JMP. I want to make some final comments. So the first is that we always, and we means the academic team, always work on an extension and the maintenance and updates of our resources. At least with every major JMP release, there's also an update of the major resources. And we are also happy to develop new resources and better resources depending on your needs. So please get in touch and just tell us what you need. We always get the question, what if I'm moving from other software packages to JMP? So we also have a lot of information online to answer these type of questions. So if you are coming from Excel, there are many ways to use Excel and JMP together. So just follow this link here and learn about the Excel and JMP integration. If you are coming from SPSS, get our info kit and learn about the differences between SPSS and JMP. And if you are coming from Minitab, download our transition guide to make the transition easier. One important thing: to receive future updates about new resources and other important information, please opt in. This allows us to send you these important updates by email, and the opt-in can be found at jump.com/opt-in. Also connect with more than 18,000 other users in our JMP user community. Follow this link and join community.jump.com. And we always appreciate your feedback. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with the JMP academic team. The email address is academic@jump.com. Thank you very much for your interest.